Welcome to the Women in Vinyl podcast with Jen DiEugenio, founder of Women in Vinyl, and contributor Robin Raymond. This podcast facilitates conversations with those working in the vinyl record industry to educate, demystify, and diversify the vinyl community.
Ice on New Year's Eve, but I didn't see your face coming. There was a picture of you without warning. There was a pink elephant in the room, and no one saw that there was a pink elephant in the room.
Thanks for joining us on episode 42 of the Women in Vinyl podcast. You just heard Bat by German singer, songwriter, and producer Esther Quaid off her album of the same name. Find the limited edition, vinyl release, and more at estherquaid.bandcamp.com. Today we're joined by Jeri Mills, VP of Client Services and Front-End Operations at United Record Pressing. Learn Jeri's story of spending 30 years in physical media production, from cassette duplication to distribution, and now helping run one of the largest pressing plants in the United States. Jeri is part of the new United, a company that is looking forward to the next 60-plus years. From pressing the first Beatles 7-inch in North America to the legendary Motown Suite, United has been a staple in manufacturing for decades. Enjoy. Thanks for joining us, Jeri.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, we finally made it happen. It's been a year since we were all in Nashville.
Time flies, doesn't it?
It's crazy. But we're excited to have you join. For those that don't know you, could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Jeri Mills, worked for United Record Pressing for the last 3 years, and 30 years actually in July of this year in music manufacturing and distribution. Started my career as a cassette duplication operator.
That's so awesome. Yeah. And when we met you before, you mentioned that your family was in the business. So did you always anticipate that you'd do something in physical media? And how did you find your way here?
You know, it's crazy. I actually didn't. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life at a young age, like most people do. And my sister was actually working at a company called Cinram in Richmond, Indiana. And she had worked there. When she started working there, it was PRC, Phillips Recording Company. And I kept telling her, get me a job for the summertime. And she kept telling me no. So one day she walks by the front office and there I sat. And so when she stopped and looked back and she asked me what I was doing, I said, if you're not going to get me a job, I'm going to get a job on my own. So I interviewed with a couple different people. And again, I was just supposed to work there for the summertime until I figured out what I wanted to do with my life. And I always tell people 30 years later, I guess I still don't know what I want to do with my life. My sister worked there at that time, but prior to my sister working there, my older sister had worked there as well. My mom, who I call my other dad, who is my stepdad, he actually worked there in high school before he left for the war in the late 60s. My grandmother worked there, and I actually recently found out that my great-grandfather worked there also.
Wow.
Back then it was actually Decca Records. So my grandmother was actually a press operator, and my dad was a hopper filler in high school.
I love that. It's such a cool story.
And then in addition to all of those family members, my brother-in-law worked there. My sister, brother-in-law, and I worked there until the facility closed in 2009. But my aunt and my uncle worked there in records My cousin worked there. He was actually, excuse me, a maintenance guy on the presses. And his wife eventually worked for the same company when it was CDs. So pretty much my entire family, other than my biological dad, has worked in some type of physical media.
You guys could have taken it over.
We could, my sister and I actually joke about that often and say, we could have started our own business.
Yeah, especially having like somebody in every single different department.
Yes.
Like-
She was a quality supervisor at one point, and then moved into customer service. And my brother-in-law was actually the maintenance technical manager over the molding equipment for CDs and the printing equipment and CDs as well.
Wow.
Cool.
So what made you, how did you find your way to United?
Funny, actually. I got a text message from Mark Michaels that said, "Hey, got your name and phone number from one of your music customers, and let's talk." So I ended up giving him a call, and we were on the phone for well over an hour. And when I hung up the phone with him, my husband actually said to me, "Oh, it's nice to see you." And I was kind of taken aback by that. And I said, "What do you mean? I've been here." And he said, "No, it's nice to see you." He said, hearing the excitement in your voice and seeing the way that you are after this conversation, he said, "It sounds like you might need to go meet someone." So it was actually right at the beginning of the pandemic. It was March of 2020. And so Mark and I traded phone calls and text messages for a couple months. And then actually it was actually this same time right now that Mark offered me a job at United.
Wow.
So major month, huh?
Right.
Wow.
So I started in the vinyl industry, well, vinyl manufacturing, because prior to that I was doing distribution for CDs and vinyl. And so moving into manufacturing for vinyl in the peak of the pandemic, and all of the craziness with orders increasing for manufacturing for vinyl. I think I might have been thrown to the wolves, but it was a good thing. And I've enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah,
That's
what
awesome.
a time to enter into all of this.
Yeah. Time.
Yeah,
Totally.
when I started, I said, "We have a backlog of how big?"
Right.
Well, and I mean, and that's saying something too, because URP is not a small facility.
No, it is not. And actually, we've just in the past 3 years, we've grown so much. We've actually just finished up phase one of our expansion. So we have a lot of new shiny Phoenix presses in the facility now and have added staffing to support that. And, that's been its own challenge in itself. Is everyone has had issues with staffing over the last few years, but we have really taken the time to hire the right people in the right positions and feel that we're definitely headed in the right direction.
Are you guys running 3 shifts too, Jeri, or just
We
2?
actually run 4 shifts. So it's 4 12-hour shifts. We do 2 12-hour shifts on the front end of the week. So Monday through Wednesday shift, and then we do a Thursday through Saturday shift right now. Obviously, we're always looking to make sure that we are staffed in the best way to be able to support our customers' demand.
Yeah. How many presses do you all have now?
Right now, we have 56 presses that are in the building. So we have 26 new Phoenix presses. When we went through and decided that we were going to expand and started to lay out the facility, we went ahead and our engineer built the infrastructure to support 48 new presses. So we've brought on 26 of those presses, but if there is a demand for it and we need to, we can definitely bring in additional presses and be prepared for that.
Wow.
I mean, I think that would make you guys like, we're number one, right? Because you're We're already just by a smidge, like number 2 biggest facility in North America for
Yes.
sure, but you're probably just behind GZ, right?
I believe so, yes.
That's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
And as we have discussed ad nauseum on our podcast, it takes a lot of people to make your records, friends.
It does.
So just imagine how many people are in URP making incredible records for you on 56
Yeah.
presses. It boggles the mind. I can see myself on some sort of a catwalk, just like overlooking all of these things. Is that a reality, Jeri? Is that something that you can
we
do?
don't have a catwalk, no, although that would be fun.
Right?
It is pretty impressive to walk in and see everything. And that is one thing that we're quite proud of. Just being there a short 3 years, seeing all of the positive changes that we've made in the facility. So we're not, obviously our workload dictates the number of presses that we run each day or each week. We're not currently running all 56 presses, but if we have the demand for it, we can definitely do so. So in addition to the new Phoenix presses, we have the Leonard presses and we have SMTs also.
And what's your guys' minimum order?
300 units. Now for 7-inch, our minimum is 100.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good to know.
That's the other question, because I feel like we need to figure out who's making 7-inch records.
Yeah.
Well, 7-inch is near and dear to our heart because that's URP was founded on 7-inch.
Yeah,
we pressed the first Beatles 7-inch in the US.
I was just gonna say that.
What is the new United? We were talking a little bit about that when I was there, and because there's new management, there's new facilities. What is the new URP?
So I'm plagiarizing this from one of my coworkers, but he described us as a 74-year-old startup company. and that's true. Next year we celebrate our 75th anniversary, but we do have new leadership in the facility, trying to take what we've done over the last 74 years and learn from that and understand from the last 74 years, what have we done well? But then also, it's not just about learning from what we've done well. It's about learning from what we haven't done so well and being open-minded and saying, all right, where have we failed in the past? Because that's what we need to focus on. We need to focus on understanding what our challenges have been and build upon that and make us better. And that's exactly the direction that we're heading. Building the right culture for our employees, making it enjoyable for our team to come into work. I actually said to someone last week that I was giving a tour to, I said, do you honestly think that, no offense to the folks that work at Amazon, because we appreciate the folks that work at Amazon, but do you think they really get excited about going into work and picking an order to ship out?
Yeah.
Not nearly as exciting as someone that can say, I work for a record pressing plant.
Totally.
So just building a factory and a company that believes in teamwork, believes in each other and builds each other up, and understands that what we do at United is extremely important. I've said to people before that when they asked what I do, I say, we make magic. And it's a form of art, and hiring the right people that have that same passion for the business. And I truly think that matters. Yeah. And we've seen that more and more.
I totally agree. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially in a place like Nashville, because you've got more record pressing plants in that zip code, or in that collection of zip codes.
It's so true.
Than probably anywhere on the earth. I feel like the pride just walking through the door, even though the door has moved, Just like walking through that door, like I feel like I would be like, hell yeah.
There is something magical about walking in. So we still own the facility on Chestnut,
Yeah.
and walking in and going upstairs to the Motown Suite, there is something magical about that. And walking through there and sitting on the edge of the bed in the bedroom and saying, I wonder who slept in this bed, or going in to the kitchen and thinking, who ate a meal at this table. It is pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, we were talking about Nashville and its saturation of record pressing plants. I mean, what is your sort of stance on the saturation of the market? Is it a good thing? Do you think everybody can sustain this? What's your perspective?
I think that's a great question. And a question that we ask ourselves every day, right?
I bet.
And I don't think that this is a unique question to United Record Pressing, that we're the only ones asking this question. I think everyone that's pressing vinyl right now is asking the same question.
Yeah, we absolutely are.
Yeah.
I think some facilities will survive, and I think that some facilities will not survive. It's understanding the industry and understanding what the customer's needs are. You go from a year and a half ago where the labels were saying, we have so many orders that we can't fill, and we're missing out on all this revenue. So then everyone goes and adds equipment or builds a new plant. It's, I don't know the right word for it. Sometimes concerning, and other times it's, hey, we've built a plant that can support what our customers' needs are, and that's what we're going to focus on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe, and this might be me reading into it, but short-sighted is maybe the word you're looking for, because it's like, let's do this thing immediately, but not looking like down the road a little bit to when things might mellow out, perhaps.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you nailed it right there, Robin. Short-sighted is definitely, let's face it, this industry is short-sighted.
Yeah.
And we've built a facility that can accommodate that short-sightedness.
Totally. Yeah.
And the one benefit that we have right now, this time last year, we were quoting 8 months, 10 months turn time. And now we're test pressings out the door in 7 days.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's incredible.
And that's from receipt of audio. So we can receive the audio, the lacquer is cut, silvered, plates ready, stampers on the press, test pressing ran, test pressing QC'd, and out the door in 7 business days.
Wow. Because you all have the unique ability to also do all of that there.
Yeah. So there's Nashville Record Productions it has space inside our facility. So he can receive an audio file. And within 24 hours, we can have a lacquer cut, and we're now silvering in-house also. So we're end to end for electroplating. So that is a benefit for our customers. And then turn time, once the test is approved, from workability, if we have labels in-house cut, jackets, sleeves, once everything is workable, right now we're turning orders in about 3 to 4 weeks after workability.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So the longest thing right now for us is basically waiting for the packaging components to come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like they're still playing catch up.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a question for you too, Jeri.
Sure.
What are the positive changes that you've seen now coming through the pandemic? Like, are people still excited to come to work? Or like, was there like hesitancy when things are starting to reopen? Is everybody like really like stoked and happy and doing all the things now?
Yeah, I think so. It's nice to be able to come to work and not wear a mask, because we went through that for quite some time.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge in itself, getting people to follow the rules that you have to wear a mask. Let's face it, the majority of the people did not like wearing a mask. I did not like wearing a mask, but it was needed, and that's what we had to do. So the day that we announced that masks are no longer required, obviously, if people want to wear masks, that's their choice, and I respect that. And we still have some folks that wear masks in the facility, and again, 100% supportive of that. But it was nice to be able to walk by and smile at someone and say, "Hey, thanks for being at work today," and you could see them smile back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of us took that for granted, for sure. For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So people have definitely, I think, enjoyed getting back to the new normal.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I say getting back to the new normal, but
well, I mean, I feel like there was a lot of like false starts and like, yes, no, wait a minute. Yeah, no. So
yes,
I get that.
Because we did go through that. We finally stopped the mask mandate at work, and then we went back and said, okay, we're going to require masks again for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to be able to give our employees the option of whether or not they want to wear a mask.
That's awesome. And I mean, obviously you're on the Women in Vinyl podcast, in case you didn't know.
I am? Is that what this is? I thought I was supposed to say I'm a Pisces and I like long walks on the beach.
Oh, hey, great. So I always like to ask, like, what is the percentages at URP? Are you seeing a lot more of the lady non-binary folk types in the plan?
That's a good question. I don't really know what the percentage would be. I will say it is refreshing to see quite a few women that are in this industry. And typically throughout my career, I've seen customer service is mainly female. But we're seeing more and more, not just customer service, but supervisors and management, leadership roles. And I appreciate that. I started in this industry when it was pretty much a male dominated industry. And I was extremely fortunate, even though that was the environment that I started in, to work with a group of men that treated everyone the same. I wasn't treated any different because I was a young female. And I definitely appreciated that. He yelled at me just as much as he yelled at all of the guys there. So
what was it what was it like pressing records then? Like, what is it similar? I mean, obviously the process is the same, but like, how was it as far as, labels, getting quotes, putting orders through? Is it similar as it is now? Like, people wait long periods of time and then finally decide to pull the trigger? Artwork,
are you talking
about
years? Are you talking years ago, Jen?
Yeah, years ago.
Well, I didn't work on the vinyl side. When I first started working at Sinram, vinyl had actually ceased, and we were in the height of cassettes and actually the very beginning of CD manufacturing.
How many tape machines could you operate at one time? Because tape duplication is a beautiful art, might I add.
So I was responsible when I was a duplication operator. I would run typically 2 lines, so it was 40 duplicators.
Wow.
And I'll share a secret that I very early on, I had extremely long hair, and all of the pancakes were on shelves up above the equipment. I had reached up to grab a pancake to put on, and it was still running, and my hair got caught in the pucks.
No.
ripped my hair out so much that there
Oh,
was, yes, I was bleeding.
oh my
And
God.
I didn't tell anyone because I knew if I told that they would make us wear hairnets at work. And I thought, I'm not going to be the one that everyone hates because we now have to wear hairnets to work. But I will let you know
Are
that
you going for
every
a
day
music
after that,
festival?
I wore a ponytail.
Uh,
How did you get out of it though? Like, did you press the rewind button? Like, how?
Oh
I'm trying to,
no.
I'm trying
So keep, I don't know if you've ever seen a cassette manufacturing facility, but you actually duplicate on a reel of tape,
yeah.
and then that goes to a loading machine that actually loads the tape into the cassette C0. So
Yeah.
this was actually while it was
On a
duplicating
reel.
on the
Oh,
reel.
oh my God.
So I had to wait. Yeah, I had to wait for it to finish, and then yeah,
I'm
it was
sorry.
something that
no.
I've never forgotten how that felt.
I mean, that would be a special kind of pain. Yes, yes.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, you learned real quick, I'm sure. You're like, okay, ponytails forever, because
Exactly.
that's never happening again. Not just to hide your shame, but like for functionality, for sure.
How do you personalize your turntable? Maybe a slip mat of a favorite band, company? A Women in Vinyl slip mat, perhaps? Well, now you can create your own personalized slip mat with your pet's face, a family photo, your logo, and more using Glowtronics, a company taking your gear to the next level with full color print-on-demand slip mats. And yes, you can order just one. From cork to DJ quality, they have tons of options. Use code WomenInVinyl15 at checkout to get 15% off. www.glowtronics-store.com. And now, back to the episode. So, vinyl customers you weren't dealing with, but what was the landscape like with cassettes and CDs? I mean, because you could turn them a lot faster. So, was
Oh,
there the same
absolutely.
kind of like, I mean, vinyl fans are very passionate people, I think is a good way to put it. And so
Yes.
there's a lot of commentary, there's a lot of discussion over releases and delayed releases. Did you see the same kind of thing then, or was everything a little smoother?
No, it was the same. I, I've pretty much said it doesn't matter if it's a cassette, a CD, or vinyl. The planning, um, the length of time that it takes to get something workable, all of that is pretty much the same. I found that in this industry, it's let's hurry up and then wait. And the same can be said for cassette manufacturing and CD manufacturing. But as soon as it becomes workable, oh, we need that tomorrow.
Yes, I feel that so much.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that I find that's different is it wasn't anything to plan, 250,000 units to press in a day. And going through the planning and the scheduling of 250,000 CDs is completely different than going through the planning and scheduling of vinyl.
Yeah, right.
I thought to myself when I first started working at United, oh, it can't be that difficult. Plan 30,000 units. I can do that in my sleep.
Sure. I mean, what do you think is the biggest difference between those things? Because I mean, yeah, like you look at it, and I mean, for the general record hoping public, because not everybody understands all of it, but like, what do you think the disconnect is between? Because arguably, it's kind of, I mean, there still needs to be a CD master, and there's still a physical, like not cutting process, but like a lasering process, so that some time. So what do you think is the major difference between CDs and vinyl when it comes to schedule?
this is probably going to sound silly, but having two sides to worry about versus
Sure.
one
Oh,
side.
yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
If you have an issue with, side B stamper,
Mhm.
and then you identify that you need a recut, let's face
Yep.
it, you can't do anything with side A. And, we didn't have those challenges with
Oh,
CDs.
man.
I feel like
Oh.
sound too is another thing that we fight a lot because everyone's so used to hearing everything digitally and on Spotify.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
hearing that on vinyl,
Yeah.
there's a huge disconnect on expectations a lot of times. And it's
Totally.
hard to explain it to people because you're kind of like you're wrong, but you can't say that you're wrong.
I mean, you can. Like, it's a different format, and that's like like, check your expectations. That's like, it's the dumbest thing. It's like asking an apple to taste like an orange. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's two different things. Like, it's not going to be the same ever. Just because you receive the information through the same organ doesn't mean that it's going to be the same on
Yeah.
the output. I mean, that makes me crazy constantly.
And I will say that was a learning curve for me coming from optical disc. And then understanding I work with a fantastic group of people that have been with the company for quite some time and was able to help educate me on quite a bit of things. And I'm still learning every single day, but understanding there is a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
But-
there's one thing that you could change in the chain of making records to make it either faster or more sustainable, what do you think that would be for you?
I think getting labels to understand the timeline that it takes, that you don't just snap your fingers and things happen.
Press a button and a record comes out?
Yes.
Like a toaster?
Right. I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges, is getting some customers to understand the time that it actually takes for each process.
Even when you explain cycle times, it doesn't make
Yeah.
a difference.
No. I once said to a customer prior to vinyl, but still in the industry, it was for distribution, and it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they wanted 1,761 orders to go to Target stores that same day, and the FedEx truck left at 6 o'clock. And I was trying to explain, your shipping carton for FedEx takes 2 labels. And you haven't dropped your orders to us yet. So if we don't have the orders in our system, we can't physically print the shipping labels for it. And he said, Jeri, it doesn't matter. You have to make this happen. And I finally said to him, listen, there are some things that just aren't physically possible. Like me being 26 years old again. I would love to be 26 years old again, but it's not physically possible. So I've just had to accept that. He at least had a great sense of humor. He said, okay, I get it. But just getting some people to understand what the capabilities are and aren't, and being realistic with those.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we want to go above and beyond. We want to be able to provide the best service and the best quality record to our customers. But to do that, we need that partnership with each of our customers, and they understand how they can contribute to that timeliness of their order getting out.
Absolutely. I feel like more and more when people want to rush like that, I tell them that I've never had a smooth job rushed ever. No. There's always something that happens whenever we're trying to rush it.
Do you think we're all going to stay this busy forever, Jeri?
Well, I've been in the peak of cassettes, and then obviously the decline and the closure of cassette manufacturing at the facility I worked at. I saw the rise and the peak of compact disc, and then the decline of compact disc.
You've been on the
So-
Matterhorn of physical production.
Yes. So I say third time's a charm, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been through cassettes, I've been through CDs, I'm on vinyl now. So third time's a charm, and I'm writing this out until I'm old and gray. I do think there's going to continue to be a demand for vinyl. Will it be as big as it was, the past 48 months? I'm not sure, but I'm hopeful and definitely optimistic, and extremely proud of the fact that United Record Pressing has built a facility that can accommodate the needs of our customers.
Yeah.
Well, since we're getting close to our time, I want to be respectful of your evening. Robin, do you want to ask our question?
Yes. So, Jeri, being the 7-inch record aficionado and enthusiast that you are and that I am, we have a question that we ask that is more impossible generally than the desert island question. But if you could make your own 7-inch record with any song from any genre from any year on the A side and the same on the B side, what would your custom Jeri 7-inch record be?
A side is easy, Against the Wind by Bob Seger. Um,
Yes.
Absolute all-time favorite. I've told my husband that song will be played at my funeral. I listen to it every day. B-side, that's a good question because I flip depending on my mood.
Yeah.
B-side would probably have to be the Staple Singers. I'll Take You There.
Oh, nice.
Great
Yeah.
choices. Great choice. Great
Love
choice.
it.
Fantastic. Well, that just seemed like we got started 5 minutes ago. And
Thank
It
you
does.
so much. Yeah, it was so fun to talk to you. I know it
again,
took us a while to connect.
Thanks so much for making time for us, Jeri. We really super appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for reaching out. I greatly appreciate it. This hour has definitely flown by. So
we'll have to do a redo.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jen, I actually have to tell you that I was listening to a previous podcast and you talked about ordering vinyl from Amazon.
Yeah.
And when I worked at my previous job, I was there when we installed the equipment that packaged vinyl individually for Amazon stores.
Oh, really?
So, yes. So that was pretty interesting to be able to see how that worked and how it read the barcode, and it basically wrapped the carton around the vinyl and sealed it. It was a pretty cool process. But when I heard you say, talk about ordering vinyl off of Amazon and not knowing the condition it's going to be when you get it, that is a huge concern. But I will say that is a pretty impressive piece of equipment that they were able to come up with for that.
That is really cool. It also makes sense why, because there's like this one horror story that circulates around the internet about how a record got shipped with just the shipping label on it and no packaging whatsoever. Yeah. And it's probably, since it's machinery, a box got missed, record got labeled, out it went.
Yes.
So
yeah, for years we actually did that. The company that I worked for then, that was all manual process. And so there was actually someone there that was taking the vinyl and putting it in a carton and folding the carton around it and peeling off the adhesive strip and sealing it. And they would take 15 of those boxes and put it in a master carton. And then they were able to create a machine that actually did that for them. So
amazing.
The machines are coming for our jobs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have taken more of your time than we anticipated. Yeah. So let's let you go so you can be with your family.
Yes.
Well,
thank you
both
much.
so much.
You're awesome. We super appreciate and love you, and we will catch up with you soon, I'm sure.
Yes.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you again both so much. I really enjoyed this. Thank you both. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Women in Vinyl podcast. You can join our ever-growing list of sponsors. Other record labels: Selector, Couple Design, Eargasm, Groove Washer, Glowtronics, New Gen Audio, and Vinyl Revolution Record Show. And thanks for sponsoring the show. Hey, as always, you can join our conversation on Instagram or send us a note at media@womeninvinyl.com. Clock us. Send us info. If you have a question, we got the answer, or we'll find it. We won't lie to you. And check out womeninvinyl.com for past episodes, the store, the job board, and the library of resources. Don't forget to like and subscribe and give us a review on your favorite podcast delivery method. You can also contribute to furthering our mission at patreon.com/womeninvinyl. Hey, guess what? This episode, 45 minutes. You know there was more. You want more? You get more. Go to patreon.com and you can get more. And you'll find all the B-sides, the deep cuts, and the amazing extras, including longer episodes, and contribute to the creation of scholarships and educational opportunities to further the demystification, the infiltration of more women and non-binary identifying humans into the vinyl making space, decreasing those turnaround times every week. Yeah, we love your records. We want you to love them too. womeninvinyl.com.
This episode has been brought to you by Women in Vinyl and Red Spade Records. Thank you for listening. Please remember to subscribe, and you can always contact us directly by visiting www.womeninvinyl.com.